fiscally responsible, socially cohesive, values that must necessarily lead us into a new era of renewal and hope. I'm here once again because I believe deeply in the need to restore our cherished values of service, sacrifice, and selflessness back into our party. I envision a Ghana that is economically robust, resilient, fiscally responsible, socially cohesive, and fully accountable to the citizen.
The addiction factor is real. We are going to do what people never imagined will happen in this country. A young man who grew up literally on a cocoa farm with uneducated parents became the minister for education when his parents were not educated. That is what I believe is the Ghanaian dream. Opportunity for every youth who is listening to me today, every child listening to me today, for you to know that your better days are ahead of you and not behind you. Do not
My supporters, north to south, east to west, must shy away from comments and commentary that smears individuals and ultimately affect the fortunes of our party.
To win in 2028, we must not just talk unity, we must live it. The repeated attacks by our own party folks on one another is absolutely unhelpful. What we say against each other, the NDC will use against us in 2028.
I am pleading with you to vote for Canadian Japan. Because in the bus, truck bus, truck, wherever you go, market, Ghanaians are crying for Canadian Japan to leave this country. So don't listen to anybody who will come and intimidate you because of his own selfishness.
3FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Our MP for Akotia, who passed away recently, and for all the others who have lost their lives in the service of our great party.
FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Peace. Let me start by expressing my most profound gratitude to those of you here and those watching from across the country for joining me as we embark on this journey, not for myself, but for our nation and our party. It is with a deep sense of purpose that I announce formally my bid to be retained as the flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party for the 2028 general elections. I offer myself for a second time to bear the flag of the NPP into this election after having listened extensively to the demands of the party and the nation. Since 1947, our forebears have played the most impactful role in Ghana's history. Whenever it has mattered the most, we have been at the forefront of providing leadership and showing the character that has ignited passion and energy among the people of Ghana. From the days of Dankwa, Dombo, Buzia, Bafo Akoto, Edward Akufo-Addo, our tradition demonstrated deep intellect during the fight for independence. The traits of selflessness and humility were evident in the genes of patriots. In the days of Victor Usu, we demonstrated respect for all persons. And in the days of Ejubwahim, we showed the spirit of courage, rising up to the challenge of oppressors' rule. In the days of Kufuor, we showed emotional intelligence and the spirit of inclusion. And in the days of Akufo-Addo, we showed foresight and resilience. The NPP and Ghana are demanding for a leader who embodies the values of this tradition. Deep intellect, humility, respect for all persons, unity, courage, foresight, and resilience.
Urban Lifestyle
Dear
Radio
citizens,
Station.
as the NPP is looking for a leader who embodies the character of this party's tradition and the values of our forebears, I, Mahamudu Bawumia, offer myself to lead the party for the 2028 elections. Because I have the integrity, the competence, the compassion, the humility, and the values not only required to lead the party, but to lead the country. This election is an election not only for Flagbearer of our party, but it is an election for the soul of this party. The choice we make on January 31st will determine whether or not this party will hold on to the values that make us great or become a new party focused on deepening the chasm between the rich and the poor. I am offering myself to be elected as flag bearer because I believe we owe a duty to this party to give her a choice to put forward the most prepared candidate for the 2028 election and the most prepared person to be president in 2029. In the last 16 years, I've had the privilege of joining each and every constituency at least 5 times to work hard on the ground and campaign and work for the NPP. Just like the thousands of you who may not have had all the money in the world to throw at the party, all my sweat, my reputation, my knowledge, and my person have been dedicated to working with you for the success of the party. As a result of this, there is no village or hamlet or city or town where Mahamudu Bawumia's face and name are not known. I owe this party a duty that if we are to win 2028, we ought not to start afresh from zero. Instead, we ought to build on the nearly 42% of valid votes and work across and work to cross the 50% mark in the next election. I have also had the distinct privilege of serving as vice president and supporting the president and the government in our last administration with ideas that have significantly impacted the lives of millions of our people. This is what the streets refer to as being rich in ideas. The initiatives I advocated for in our time today are making impact in people's lives. The rich, innovative, and practical ideas that I successfully championed and saw to implementation include the Bank of Ghana's Gold Purchase Program, the first in Africa, the Gold for Oil Program, the first in Africa, the accelerated issuance of the Ghana card, mobile money interoperability, the first in Africa, the Ghana Digital Property Address System, the first in Africa. Agenda 111, one constituency, one ambulance. The zipline drone delivery service, the largest in the world. The universal QR code payment system. The No, which is the first in Africa. The No Guarantor student loans. Ghana.gov. The Citizens App. NHIS registration and renewal on your mobile phone. The Rental Assistance Scheme. The Zongo Development Fund. Individualized credit scoring, paperless ports, electric buses, e-gates at Kotoka International Airport, and the digitalization of medical records across all district, regional, and teaching hospitals in Ghana, amongst others. The implementation of these practical policy initiatives has resulted in many people saying that I have been the most effective vice president in Ghana's history. This implies that given the opportunity, I can equally become one of the most effective presidents in Ghana as we go forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I demonstrate my strength by getting results, not by making noise, or by insulting, or by bragging about money. The combined effect of how well Bawumia is known today and my experience as vice president make me the most prepared person for the NPP's quest for the 2028 election and governance in 2029. Fellow Kukrudites, in the words of Kofi Abrefa-Bruzia, the qualification to be a success in Ghana's politics includes a large capacity to stomach all sorts of attacks. I am not oblivious to the fact that the NDC and lately elements within our own family subject me to daily attacks. In fact, I expect that there will be more attacks in the coming months and years. But I have learned, if I have learned anything from history, it includes the fact that a man must be formidable so that no matter the adversity, he stands tall, focused, and resolute. All that can be held at me have already been attacked. As the days are going by, time has shown great vindication. The Bank of Ghana, the IMF, and even the NDC kingpins are now admitting on many matters that Bawumia was right. What more can they say about me now? In our history, when all has been said of a candidate and yet he remains standing, victory is the logical next step that awaits him.
Twenty-six after 8, and that was a playback there of some voices. Yesterday at the party headquarters, I'm talking about the New Patriotic Party. And there's a release here dated August 28, 2025. It's an update on the filing of nominations for the New Patriotic Party presidential primary. Now, the Presidential Election Committee of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, wishes to inform all stakeholders that as of Thursday, August 28, 2025, 5 aspirants who earlier picked up nomination forms have duly filed their completed forms with the committee. The aspirants are as follows: Engineer Kwabena Ejay Ejapong, Honorable Ken Ohene Ejapong, Honorable Dr. Brian Echampong, we also have His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, as well as Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. The release goes on to say it will be recalled that on Tuesday, July 29th, 2025, the General Secretary, on behalf of the National Council, officially opened nominations for party members desirous of contesting to become the party's presidential candidate. The committee assures all stakeholders of its commitment to a transparent, credible, and fair process guided by the party's constitution and regulations to ensure the integrity of the process. The presidential primary will be held on Saturday, January 31st, 2026. And it is signed by William Yamwa, Secretary of the Presidential Elections Committee. And that is the list as we have it now. And yesterday we saw scores of people thronging to the headquarters to receive these individuals, these aspirants who have now officially thrown their hats in the ring. This number, of course, could potentially increase because the release says as of yesterday, that's Thursday, August 28th, 2025, 5 aspirants have picked up their forms and completed set forms with the committee. I'm sure there are no surprises there with the names that have been mentioned: Engineer Kwabena Ejapong, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, Dr. Brian Echampong, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, also Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Actually, I might not have been expecting Dr. Educhum. Maybe I was 50-50 on whether or not he would actually see the process through, because the competition is really heating up. Sixtus, you were expecting it. I wasn't so sure.
The man has shown determination. He's shown zeal. He's shown determination. Of course.
Why are you stressing
I'll be very honest. I also not expecting him to see through the process. I didn't think. Initially when the intent came, I was like, okay, but he's followed through means he actually wants to be present, and so I'll give him that. I mean, I have a right to be surprised he had the intent.
I'm with
the man declared. In fact, indeed, he was on one of the early birds.
People have declared and didn't decide
to pick the form
and didn't pick forms or picked forms and decided not to file. And so there is that. Adainimo as well.
So is this your doubt based on maybe you think he doesn't have enough following in the party, his constituency within the party?
If you want to do something like this, there are a number of things you want to consider about how well you can do in the race.
Right.
You understand?
Don't tell me you're already ruling out the man.
No, I'm asking genuine questions.
Okay.
Allow the man to die before you bury him.
How well you can do in the race. What is the intent of your decision to want to contest? Because some people go into this wanting to not test the waters, but make their presence known and felt for future of such. But perhaps
so it's a preemptive filing, just to let you know that
exactly
I'm going to be here.
That's the perspective from which I saw his intent, but it looks like he's actually gunning and in because all of these individuals strongly supported the ticket of Dr. Baumia as well, and so to suddenly see them, because it's roughly a year since the elections was determined and the NPP lost, now to see some of these individuals now wanting to go the full throttle and challenge him. Then
it is only a fool who doesn't change his mind.
Gentlemen, I do want to ask a question, and I want us to take it rewind it just a few steps back before we look at the individuals who have put their hats in their ring. The NPP says that they are conducting this flag-bearership race fairly early. I think we've all concluded that this is quite an early process, come January 31st, 2026, because they believe that they require that leader, figurehead, that everybody can rally behind, and that will help mobilize the party, maybe change the psychology, bring about some restructuring, some rebooting. But given what we've seen so far, is this still the best idea, or should they actually really pause this process and do something different? Because from what I see, this idea that come January, if we go to the polls and elect a flag bearer, it will unite the party,
hey, NPP, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You see, let me tell you something. What the party is doing now gives you an indication that the party leadership is weak. What the party is doing now. If you look at the NPP right from when it was formed in the early 90s up until now, what the party is doing now, doing what they call a top-bottom approach. It shows a weak leadership. Weak leadership because the party chairman is not at post as we speak. It took his family to come and announce that the man is not well. He is not resigning for somebody to fill the slot, but he will be away on sick leave at such a critical time.
But they have someone in acting capacity.
Yes.
I'm just making a point that
very competent man actually.
I'm not doubting his I'm not doubting his I'm not doubting his competence.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it took the family of the man who is chairman of the party, who tried for 5 times until he got his slot, to now come and tell us that the man is not well and that as his family we don't want him to be doing active partisan stuff. We want him off. The man himself could not speak on his own. That's one. Now, if the leader of the party is not the one who can speak up for himself, but he takes his family to say, Oyare, it gives you a certain indication of a weak leadership. 2, Justin Kodua Frimpong, who's the CEO.
Or a leader who is so committed, even to the detriment of his health.
Play your devil's advocate. It's okay. It's okay. Now, 2, Justin Kodua Frimpong is supposed to be the general secretary of the party, or he's the general secretary of the party, and the CEO of the party. The party is supposed to be in his hands. Not so long ago, we had a Blakuma North election rerun. He held a press conference and told everybody that
it's not going to be
as a party, we will not contest because we won the elections, and that we will not go anywhere.
He said this is an illegal election.
What did the candidate of the NPP, who is subservient to the general secretary, do? 3, the party indicated earlier, per its constitutional provision, that anybody who jumps ship, who says this or that, we will sack everybody. Then, few days before this, the party says, we are giving everybody and there's a breathy. Look, I can go on and on and on and tell you. Look, Kwabena J. Japan, Mr. Sami Krab, Paula Foko, these are not small boys in the NPP. These are people who on their own have built their lives. People who have a following. People who have influenced people who are respected within the party. The party suspended them without blinking an eye and never bothered to give them amnesty. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you compare the leadership of the party from back in the day and you compare the leadership of the party now. You weigh them, and if you want to measure them against their opponents, the party leadership now is weak. If you like, let's go head to head.
Right.
Chairman to chairman. Vice chairman to vice chairman. The vice chairman that pushed the microphone away.
Alaji.
Compare him to the 3rd vice chairman of the NDC.
Okay, so now you want to step out of the NPP and juxtapose against
because
their
all of what
counterparts.
is happening is going to be a contest against somebody, presumptively the NDC.
Okay.
Now, if your people, the opposite number, look at organizer to organizer, look at assistant secretary to assistant secretary, look at youth organizer to youth organizer. If you measure the thing, look at general secretary to general secretary. The optics don't look good. So this is not the time to cover up with an early presidential primary to make it look like we are trying.
You are saying we should look at General Mosquito against Stephen Intim.
The obvious is there.
Look at Fifi Kwete against
Justin
JFK.
Yes.
Look at Nanabi against Pablo.
Yes.
Nanabi against Yamin.
Yamin, yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Against Yamin.
It's Salam
against Mustafa Salam against Pablo.
Right. Look at Sami Jemfi against
Ahiagba.
Look, the optics don't look good. And the best way to solve it is for the party to have returned to the principles and the values that formed the party. The NPP party is known to be democratic. So, if you are picking a flag bearer from the top, would you now come and pick your national executives after? Will you now come and pick your regional executives after? Then you come down to your constituency executive and to your polling station, The process should have started that way. Then you build the kind of interest that you're looking for. What the party is doing now, it shows that there's no leadership. The party literally is headless. There's no leadership. And it tells in everything they do. It's showing all across. It's showing all across. So look, I gave an example of Mr. Richard Ahiagba and some of the comments he made regarding the inclusion of the military in election security duties. And I go back to the many examples off the top of my head. Many examples. Ayawa's West Wogon. Many examples. Election registration in 2020. Name them. Ododo, Ablikoma Central, where the 8 people were shot in the Techiman area.
Right.
Look, so many of them. He kept quiet over all of those things. Now, if you want to make the party look attractive after that humiliating defeat in 2024, you don't hurriedly go and pick a presidential candidate, so to speak, to come and whitewash everything that has been.
You don't think that argument holds water? That if we get a flag bearer, we get everybody to rally behind us?
You see, all the 5 people who have put themselves up, as Mawena said earlier, were people who were so strong and firm in their minds that Dr. Bawumia was the man.
Maybe.
Will they not do the same if that happens?
I'm coming. No. So how are they going to re-engineer the conversation? There were people who sat in this studio as Bawumia loyalists. Today they have switched camp. 8 months on, what changed?
In re-engineering that conversation, it's already sparked concerns of division.
So the point is that you cannot make up your mind. And so imagine that Ghanaians had voted for the NPP in 2024. 8 months down the line, there will be the internal bickering that we'll never get to know about. So we will be here as citizens assuming that we are being governed, we are paying our taxes and we are being governed, and then our country is supposed to be moving in a certain direction. But there will be internal bickering. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm saying that how to solve that problem is not to go and hurriedly whitewash anybody, whether Dr. Bawumia, Engineer Kwabena J.J. Dr. Duchum or Kennedy Japan or anybody to come and put out there as flag bearer. Yesterday was so embarrassing. Some of the guys, whether rented, real or perceived, who came to the place, were in NPP paraphernalia and shouting Eyezu. I'm looking for that video. I'll share with you. Now, if it tells you a certain story.
What story?
A story that the people who are diehard people, and you should go on social media and read some of the mud they are throwing at each other. I can understand that, look, people will contest, people would say things, but the mud that they are throwing at each other and the confirmations that they are giving to things that they said, oh, it's wrong, you are anti-MPP. They are saying it themselves. Those who are...
So a catalogue of what we're seeing sins of this person, sins of that person.
Yes. Now, Dr. Bawumia is giving us, for example, a plethora of things that he will do when he comes. But these were things that were rejected. He presented those things in 2024.
Indeed.
Were they not rejected?
Resoundingly.
Now, let's look at the profile of the people in there. Kennedy Japan was touted as the man who had a deep pocket, who was the Central Regional champion, He was bringing the votes from Central Region, etc. What was the NPP's performance in the Central Region? The worst ever. Osaya Edichum, Minister for Education, everybody said, hey, the free SHS, we have improved the numbers and access, this quality. You know all these conversations.
Indeed.
What did the students front vote? How did the student front vote?
First time voters.
First time, how did they vote?
A chunk of them.
The free SHS beneficiaries, how did they vote? Then you go to Engineer Kwabena Japan, who came at his campaign launch to tell us that the government ran out of the Jubilee House with energy and went back on a stretcher. He told us that. Then we saw him later following Kennedy, Dr. Baumia. Is that principle? Is that principle? Then you talk about Brian Echampo. We will not hand over power. A Greek minister fighting, buffer stop people. Today fighting this one. Today making this, beating war drunk, blah, 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 blah. Today he wants everybody to believe his calm. Is that principle? What was the NPP's performance in their own eastern region, which is a stronghold? What was the performance? Measure that against any electoral record from 1992 or since 1992. Then Dr. Baumia in his own backyard, me, tell me, vote for me, all those commentary that were made, put a Christian here, religion, a Muslim here, I want to unite them, and one of you vote for me, if you vote for the other guy, all of those ones. What did he bring to the table? So I'm saying that the panacea to the disgrace and shame that the NPP has now, again, is to go back to the principles and values that underpin the party. It is not about self-seeking, glory to become flag bearer of the NPP. It is to go back to the grassroots and ask for apology and beg them and try and get them to be committed again. But I am friends with a lot of NPP people.
Really?
Grassroots people. They are my best friends. I can name them. My best friends. Not just at the top. I'm talking grassroots people. Which constituency will you mention? Okankwe South, Okankwe North, Okankwe Central, Ablekuma North.
What's the word on the street?
The word on the street is that some of the people who were committed, I know people who would be diehard NPP people who would work and take part of their salary and support the party. Now when the party van is passing around, they don't care. They are buying their kelewele. In Bubuashi, they are buying their pork. Go and check the NPP office itself at Bubuashi Station. Go and check how dormant the place has been. That office used to be very, very busy.
Vibrant.
I used to buy rice there. There used to be a rice seller in front of that place. I used to buy rice there. Now that office has become dormant. But there's an immediate past member of parliament of that constituency. There's supposed to be a father of the constituency in Mr. Ahmed. Do they see eye to eye? So if a stronghold like Okankwe South has now been taken over by the NDC for the first time since 1992, right? Or since 1996, sorry. And the NPP is not worried about it. They are not disturbed. Their interest is that, let's pick a flag bearer. You have a problem. But
somebody who, and let me introduce into the conversation. Somebody who was nodding in agreement when we talked about rice in Bubuashi. I think he's familiar with that particular rice. Solomon.
I say we all the chop some.
Is a leading member, Movement for Change. He's been teasing us since the year started, soon to become a party. We're watching this space very keenly, but that's a discussion for another day. Solomon, good to see you, Akwaba. You've been in town not for too long now.
Not for too long now. And good morning to my co-panelists and yourself and your listeners. This morning, you and Mona have already done the job, so there's no job.
There is still a lot to discuss. Let me also mention that we'll have security expert Emmanuel Kutin also joining us on the phone. He was meant to be in studio, but he says he will join us via telephone. We'll also pick his thoughts on some of the recent happenings. Yesterday, your former party headquarters was very vibrant indeed, if I can use that word. We know that we have 5 individuals now who have officially filed their nomination forms with the committee in charge of elections. Any surprises there with the candidates who have now formally thrown their hat in the ring?
Yeah, very surprised that the 4 candidates, apart from Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, will file, because as Engineer Adenimo puts it, this is a process that has been skewed to favor one particular candidate. So why would I go and invest 4.6 million into it? And I'm very surprised Kwabena Japan did that. He actually paid 4.6 million, even what Adenimo is saying is anything to go by. That Adichum will go and pay 4.6 when you know that you're not going to make anything serious out of the outcome. So I was surprised. I thought they would allow him to go the top-down approach that right from the beginning they decided to institute to favor Bawumia. They will allow he himself to go and face the music, because there is nothing that's going to change in 2028. 2028, the NPP will sink further. It's a party that has pressed the destructive button, and there is no way turning back. The supporters that you saw there, these are rented crowd.
Rented crowd.
And that is why he was telling you, someone was shouting there. He even forgot that he was wearing NPP party shirt. You get my point. And that is what happens when everything about you is fake. You must have organic supporters. Why the rush? You went into election 2024, you were beaten. The reasonable thing to do is to do a thorough investigation as to what caused that massive defeat. That has not been done, because the so-called report that they claim they did, which Professor Michael Quay says they will never release to anybody, including the party members, they never did any thorough work. People
how do you come by that assessment that it wasn't a thorough assessment of what had transpired in the last elections?
See, within the NPP, the breadbasket of the parties is the Ashanti region.
That's right.
Now, so any report that comes from the Ashanti region is a representative of what the true position of the party is.
That's the heartbeat of the party.
That's the heartbeat of the party. You saw the leaked report from the Ashanti region. At least we know that. Now, in that leaked report, which was championed by Chimensa and then Wuntumi, both loyalists of Bawumia, you read the report carefully, it creates an impression that people sat in their rooms and said, look, let's write a report that will point out our future competitors, dirty them. They didn't do any grassroots work. They accused Kennedy Japan, accused Alan Tremantin, accused anybody that thought that, we can use them as a punching bag, so that they whitewash Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was the captain of the team. If that was anything to go by, then what report were you expecting? There is nothing that they did. They just sat somewhere. And that is why quickly they said, let's go and do top-down approach, get a flag bearer, and then run with it.
Now that approach has been widely criticized. The party, at this point, has decided to forge ahead. The date is January 31st, 2026. Their minds have been made up. Now, one reason that has been put forth for why Dr. Bawumia should be presented or represented as their candidate is that, one, he is already widely marketed. That's been what I keep hearing from his camp, and that he can build on this 41% vote that he got, that it forms a good foundation. And that also, if you look at some of the interventions that he, had as a vice president, he can build on that. You heard him yesterday on the platform. He says that Ghanaians are touting his achievements as game changers. That is what we are benefiting from now in 2025. How do those arguments sit for you as far as marketing Dr. Bawumia is concerned?
When I listened to you yesterday, I couldn't laugh. I realized that he was so prepared he was prepared to get less than 15% in election 2024. What were we doing? See, if you say you have been marketed, I don't know whether, you were around in 2005, 2006 thereof. Atai was very popular than President Kufuor.
Atai, the killer.
Yes. He was very popular than President Kufuor in the entire country.
That's right.
So did it mean that we had to, any political party should have gone to see Atai, present him as their candidate to win an election? You could be popular for the wrong reasons and popular for the right reasons. Unfortunately for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he is popular for the wrong reasons. And so if you say you have been bucketed and you are popular, what sort of popularity are we dealing with, positive or negative? You asked a certain vice president, Emisata, 170 questions. If I were him, I would begin my political renewal with answering those questions. Once you're able to deal constructively with those questions, then we know you are serious. He was the same person. And yesterday he made a certain statement, and I'm very surprised at this one. I've not heard the other candidates taking him on. That the elections of 31st is about the soul of the NPP. You do know the soul of the NPP?
You want to use his time that he spent in the party against him? Is it because he's a newcomer or more relatively
He
new?
has never had any clue about the NPP. So when we are talking about soul of the NPP, how do you represent the soul of the NPP? Well, lies. Gogo says you are the chief liar in the world. Is that what the soul of the NPP represents? Look, he looked straight into you and our faces and said, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate what?
Expose you.
We agreed with that statement. Then when you got the opportunity to lead this country, he came back and told us, look, but it is wild logic to conclude that when the exchange rate is depreciating, means the fundamentals are weak. How can we trust such a person? Now, one of the sins, now they have turned into a sinners party, so we can continue on that tangent. One of the sins he has been accused of is inflating the e-gate at the airport,
right,
by $240 million. I saw it from the Brian's camp. Yesterday, I heard him say that one of his achievements is to have done the e-gate. Now, here is the case, you are being accused of having shortchanged the country to that magnitude, and you are claiming credit. By the way, were you know in this country that he told us that he was just a mere mate?
That's right.
And that we should give him the CM first year and the mame
He
first
said
year.
he didn't have the full opportunity to really put forth his ideas, his policies, what he really wanted from other Ghana.
You see why we shouldn't take him serious? Now, yesterday, he enumerated more than 10 achievements. So how did he do that as a mate? When he wants to deceive the minds of the people, he comes out with wild allegations. And who is praising him for anything that he has done?
He said Ghanaians are really giving him credit.
Who is
for
that Ghanaians? Am I a Togolese? Helen, I am not giving him any credit. Look, gold for oil. He was talking about gold for Bank of Ghana's gold purchase. That was not what he was making noise about. He brought us the gold for oil. Now, but the Bank of Ghana's own financial statement says that we lost 1.82 billion out of that gold for oil. So how can you be given any credit? But why didn't he pride himself with his own program, which was the NAPCO, Nation Builders Corp, that we are spending more than 2 billion? As we speak, some of the young ones have not been paid.
That's right.
How can you, as a sitting vice president, students, people that have gone through the tertiary institutions, their parents have spent more money. Now hostel fees are how much? So much expensive. Then you say after finishing school, you just go to GRA here and they will pay you 700. That was demeaning. Who survives in this country with 700 cedis? But he carefully ran away from that program. You get my point. So for me, he is just trying to lead the party into destruction, which he would achieve it, because I don't see how come any of the other candidates will win. In fact, this is going to be a rigged election. It's a rigged process, as Adenmo has said, and that he will not invest 4.6 million into such a rigged venture.
Solomon, let me pause you there very quickly. When you talk about a rigged election, I want us to expand on that in due course. Let me also introduce into the conversation Emmanuel Kutin. He's the Executive Director, African Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. Emmanuel, good morning to you.
My dear Helen, good morning, and very good morning to my co-panelists, especially my brother Solomon, and to the good people of Ghana.
We were expecting you in the studio, but that's fine. We'll have the conversation via phone. I want to pick your initial thoughts on the happenings yesterday at the New Patriotic Party's headquarters. We know that 5 individuals now have officially put their hats in the ring. Tell us your thoughts.
In fact, I think NPP must get its acts right. They are behaving like the syndrome of dog bite dog, and that by itself has a tendency to destroy the party. In any functioning democracy, we need a very vibrant opposition. And at the moment, NPP is the main opposition party in our democracy. And if you look at events, they are more or less government in waiting. They must remember that their inactions or actions will make Ghanaians give them the mandate to come back to power again. But the way things are going, it's not looking too good at all for the Elephant family. And I dare say that if there's not a U-turn, things are not going to work well. Because I don't believe that the NPP should suffer a decline at this moment. Otherwise, it will enter into the head of the ruling government, and we, the citizens, may not benefit from what we are meant to benefit from. Because if you look at the absolute majority of the NDC, if you listen to your colleague Captain Smart, he was kind of complaining about how Ghanaians have started complaining about the governance style of the NDC. And it should be a wake-up call to the NDC. At the moment, they are enjoying the goodwill of the Ghanaian people. And that is not absolute, and that will not be forever. As to who did what, who didn't do what, within the NPP fraternity looking to leading the party, I think it's immaterial here. They should go on the tandem of the leader regulation of their party. And it's just a few people who are voting, the regional constituency and polling station executives. They should take their messages to the grassroots and stop the kind of propaganda they are doing and name calling and insults they are doing. It doesn't project the elephant family in the right direction.
Certainly. Now, throughout this process, and I think you've also alluded to it, this sort of mudslinging that we're seeing. Now we have a catalogue of sins. This camp has put together the sins of this candidate. Another camp has another, communicate out about the sins of another candidate. How dangerous is that for the party, especially projecting into the future? Come 2028, many have said that this is simply going to be used as ammunition by the opposition party. What should the leadership then of the party be doing to put a stop to it? Or as it turns now, do you say that it's a moving train with no brakes?
Well, I have a novel counter argument to this. Yes, it could present missiles for the opposition party to use against the elephant family. But that will also depend on how this government is going to prosecute and kind of restrict stolen funds from the previous government. Let me be frank and blunt here. NDC should not go by the disillusion that Ghanaian people love them and gave them this overwhelming majority. The Ghanaian people gave them this majority for a purpose, and that is accountability. Because the alleged corruption and malfeasance in the past government was just way too much. And you realize that after the initial arrest by Yoko and other things, everything has gone quiet. I don't know if you heard about the Dubois case. I understand he has won part one against the Attorney General.
There have been some interesting updates in that particular case that we're following keenly, but I follow what you're saying.
Yes. So you see, and there are even allegations that Dubois gave the current government $500,000 US. So if this current government is not able to prosecute people who were accused of corruption in the former government, I can assure you that the overwhelming majority will just precipitate into thin air. And NPP can make a serious comeback in 2028. Look at the Galamsey fight, the kind of things we said about the previous government, the kind of promises this government gave. What is the state of our Galamsey fight today? So these are the things Ghanaians voted for. They voted for change. But unfortunately, it's looking as if that change is eluding us. And my dear Ellen, you know me, I will always say it as it is, because my fidelity is to the state and not to individuals or any political party.
Thank you for that, Emmanuel. Hold on for me. Let me come back in studio and engage Solomon further. I also have Johnny Hughes in the studio. We're discussing the happenings yesterday. 5 individuals now officially declaring their wish to become the flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party. Solomon, we're talking about this process being rigged. And after that, I want us to take a quick look at some of the other candidates. And then Emmanuel has given us, he's opened up the conversation to oral. I know it's something that you have been passionately talking about, the optics of this, what some will describe as a stalled oral project, and how that is in some quarters causing the confidence of Ghanaians to dwindle as far as the NDC's capabilities in demanding accountability from the past government. You talk about a rigged election for Bawumia, in favor of Bawumia, Dr. Bawumia. Yesterday, I was listening to Kwesi Kwarteng, and he is in the Kennedy Japan camp. He talks about the official social media handle of the New Patriotic Party only streaming the nomination process of Dr. Bawumia. And I think for most people, they agree that, well, that's some kind of bias then. It's either you stream the process for each candidate that comes and picks up the form, or you stream it for nobody. Certainly, you can't begrudge persons this notion that this entire process, it's only to pick Dr. Bawumia. So for those who have actually thrown their hat in the ring, it seems like a waste of money, as you have alluded to.
Yes, you couldn't have captured it better. That's why I was very surprised to see the other 4 filed to go and just invest 4.6 million into something that you already know the outcome. The whole thing has been skewed in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Come to think of it, almost 200,000 delegates that elected him in the last elections. I said that they are going to do the voting count 1st of January. The additions that they are talking about, the expanded version, the total amount of it will not even lead to 6,000. So what it means is that he has his core people within the delegate system, the album. And those core people, if you take any of the albums, more than half are ghosts. If you have ever been with the NPP, I have been a coordinator before.
They are ghosts.
Ghost names. They just put names there. You understand? So, for instance, you go to Kapkwe South, you pick the delegates album, you could have Helen Ampofu. There is no picture there. When election is coming, then they just go and look for somebody, a waysider, get ID card in the name of Helen Ampofu, and the day go and vote for this man. That's it.
This actually happens.
It happened. I fought it when I was in that was one of the reasons why I had problems with Ahmed Atta. I was always in court with him. That look, you may think you are doing something to favor yourself, but you are destroying the party. Because if you look at the polling station system, what it's supposed to do is that each polling station is supposed to have 5 executives. Now, just like any church, when a new member comes to that vicinity, it is the duty of the polling station executives to go and sell or market the party's ideas and principles to the person to join the party. But if you go and put in the ghost names, it means that responsibility or functions will not be happening. And that is why the party has been weakened at the base. So what is happening is that on election day, and those that were behind the creation of the album are predominantly Bawumia loyalists. And if, I said, they gave them a teaser, recently held National Delegates Conference or so, they even prevented the other camps from entering the stadium. They went and brought their own people to just come and hero worship Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, create the impression that he was a man that has already been chosen. And if you listen to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia carefully yesterday, he spoke as though he was already, the candidate for the party. He alone was given the opportunity to create his canopies at the party headquarters. Handles were used to showcase. He said, I mean, what sort of life is this? Yet we are preaching unity. There is nothing unity about what took place yesterday and what has happened to all the other aspirants, except that they are unable to speak. Someone like Kennedy Japan, in 2023, when Alan Chamantin and our supporters were speaking against some of these ills, he told us that, oh, you are not man enough. You will fight it. There are certain things you don't fight with the brand, you fight with the brain. The people have already rigged the process from the base. Go and deal with it from the base. Don't tackle it from the top. You are only fighting a losing battle. There is no way Bawumia and his people are going to lose this election. They will win, and this time they will be ranked more to create the impression that more of the supporters of the NPP loves him, and that will be the beginning to the end. Because after the primaries, those that saw the rigging will not forgive the party. Already, some have just given the indication that they're only waiting for the outcome. After the outcome, then they will jump ship. They will not have anything.
What is going to happen then come 2026, January 31st, if what you're saying is correct, when all the machinations have been put together to propel Dr. Bawumia and he's declared the flag bearer? What do you think is going to happen? Is that going to be the beginning of more deterioration of the party?
Oh, yes. A lot of people will leave the party because there will be no need to continue to be in the party. And I can assure you that with Bawumia leading the NPP, they will lose heavily in 2028. What new is he bringing on board? What new? What haven't we heard from him? Is it the lectures of stabilizing the city, or becoming a digital person who is in government, or what? He is bringing nothing new on board. The only thing he's relying on is that, I don't know where they are getting this thing from, that in 2028 there will be a new candidate from the NDC. He has toured all the villages in this country, forgetting that there will also be Alan Jamante on the ballot. So there is nothing new on the ballot. But the main reasons why people voted against the NPP was not because of you as Bawumia not being fit or so. It is because your government did not perform. You were in this country, issues of galamsey, and that is why Emmanuel was alluding to.
That's right.
Issues of unemployment, you understand? Issues of corruption, daylight robbery of the state. How can we go and take 750 million to do Konongo bypass, to do Insawam Road, to do Swami interchange, to do Apega session, and then the money is finished, road is not constructed, and you think that the Ghanaian will forget easily because we have short memories? It's not going to happen. How would we forget the hole? This hole is still there. This one, there's evidential. Anytime you pass there, you see it.
$94 million US dollars.
I mean, you have a president who is traveling long distances to chase for 100 million. We had that money, and Bawumia and Nana Akufo decided to dig a hole with it. So people will not easily forget. And the youth of today, they are wide awake. They will teach you the bitterest lesson. And so for me, when I see him doing some of this jangling, I look at it as maybe there is money somewhere that if he is the flag bearer, it will enable him to bring and then better his life. Either than that, if it is for the people of this country to, within 4 years, change their minds about a particular candidate, then he's gotten it wrong.
Emmanuel says that if this particular government doesn't ramp up the oral efforts, we're going to see a lot of disaffection, which could possibly in turn, propel the NPP. Whether that means that it will really put them where they want to be come 2028, I'm not sure. But that if we don't see some oral action, people could begin to change their minds. Do you think that it's too premature for that conversation?
No, it is what it is. I mean, this government must not take itself that with the promise they gave the people of this country, if they were going to shirk their responsibilities, they will not suffer the same fate. And that is why our political party is coming. Helen, maybe by next week you hear a different news. We are coming up very strongly.
By next week, I'm writing this down, Solomon.
No, you hear a different story. I'm not giving you a definition. By next week you hear. But the political party, there is no data. The truth of the matter is that so much has been stolen. Don't let anybody come and deceive you with this semantics that we are investigating. They have stolen the money. It is with them. And they are flaunting it in our faces. And you have a government in place who are in bed with them. I don't know. They look.
Solomon, you say you are seeing collusion.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
To what scale?
1 to 10 is 9.
Surely not.
And that is why the youth of the parties are not happy with their leadership. You promised the people of this country that you would deal with those that stole. All of a sudden, you want us to degas. Well, there was a funeral. We had an unfortunate incident that also interrupted the whole thing. But now it is over. They must come back to the drawing board. What has happened to the national service? The 548 million. The NPA. The scholarship secretariat. That, as for that place, is worse. NHI. What about the All Africa Games 13th edition? What about Kenoforiata? All of a sudden, they want us to forget about Kenoforiata. We can't. It's money we are talking about. So if they are unable to deal with it, loyalty will shift. Between the two political parties, none of them have a database of more than 500,000. That's what they don't know.
The NPP talks about some 3 million.
They have never gotten any 3 million, Helen. NPP's delegate system is about 200,000 people. If you go and check those that have party cards, they are not more than 500,000.
And so, of course, that somebody voted for you does not make them a member.
Doesn't make the person a member of your party. Doesn't make. You see, Ghanaians are floating voters. And that is why you need that credible third eye. If you go and present yourself, well, they will vote for you. And it is the reason why independent candidates win at the various parliamentary seats.
Right.
Because they go and present credible message to the constituents and they win. So the NDC, and for that matter, President Mahama, must make sure that he deals decisively. He alone cannot do it. That's why he has appointed his lieutenants. The Attorney General must be up and doing so that we see the closure of some of these cases. It's so annoying. What has happened to Wontumi? He went there once, he came back. Now he's telling us that he's going to be the national chairman of the NPP. Is that the way we want to run this country? No way. And those within this administration who are doing everything possible to get them to fail, they must know that when they fail, they have failed. Me, my party is coming. I will take advantage of it. But I do not wish them to fail. The same way I never wish the NPP to fail. Because once they are failing, it means we are failing. When there was a haircut, it did not affect only NPP members.
That's right.
If any misstep of this administration will affect only their party members and supporters, then I will not have any problem. But it will affect all of us. And that is why we have to help them to succeed. There are already elements within this administration. For instance, what has happened to the letter that the Attorney General wrote to Iyoko about Yamin and Abanga on the Galamsey stuff? We must be told something so that it will reassure the people of this country that indeed we have a group of people who are bent on correcting the wrongs, resetting the country. It is resetting we are looking up to and nothing else.
Certainly. Let me bring back Emmanuel into the conversation. Johnny, then I also want to pick your thoughts about oral. It's coming up in this conversation quite strongly. Emmanuel, let me just quickly run through the aspirants who've picked up their forms and completed the process with the NPP's election committee. Kennedy Japon's tagline is "Get Connected." He says, "Get connected." What do you make of that and make of what has transpired so far? He says he's the people's choice and that the people of Ghana are crying for Kennedy Japan to take over the reins of the country. It appears that he's probably the closest candidate to Dr. Bawumia in terms of possibly taking over as flag bearer.
Absolutely. You are right, my dear Ellen. If you look at the hashtag the Ken team is using, it's resonating with the youth. And if you look at the voter population in this country, most of us are the youth. And don't forget, in the last primaries, who would have thought Kennedy would get the kind of votes he got when all the machinations were done in favor of the vice president at the time? So here is the catch, and people are not looking. And the Bawumia team have to work extra hard. If they become complacent, Kennedy can surprise them. Because the Kennedy votes remains intact. And Comrade Japan work with Dr. Bawumia. Now he's coming to take some of Bawumia's votes. And then you look at Brian Achampong coming in. In the last election, Bawumia won the entire Eastern region, hands down. This time, the Eastern region is not going to disappoint Brian Achampong at all, because he's the bankroller of the party in the region. It's just like in the 5 northern regions are standing by Bawumia thick and thin. You understand? So the Bawumia team don't have to be complacent. They have to reach out. Where I saw the crack was the previous elections where Bawumia emerged as the winner. And we did this kind of surface peace building or smoking of a pipe or a sword. But it didn't transcend deep into the facets of the party. And most of the people who supported Ken or the suspected to have supported Ken were silent even in the main election. These people are still standing by, and they are even getting more of the voters for Ken. Now, I just want to digress a bit to what my good friend Solomon said about the party scheming in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Right.
That is true. But it's not an NPP problem. It's a national problem. You remember His Excellency John Dramani Mahama when he came back, most of the executives went for him. So what does it tell us about our fledgling democracy? I think the parties need to put strategies in place internally to safeguard their electoral processes, to make it robust and deterrent enough so that we don't get the recurrence of some of these things. You will see former appointees so gray-haired trying to be at the front stage. For what? Because they want to catch the eye of the candidate. In the event that he wins, they can plant those pictures and say how much I supported you, so because of that, I must be given something. That is the political patronage that is killing our democracy. So now, to the candidates, I think each of them come with its own strength. If you look at Kwabena Japan, you read through his policies, excellent, except that the young man doesn't have money to prosecute his agenda. If you look at Ken is loved by the grassroots, but there are so many allegations around him, whether proven or otherwise. That is entirely up to the Ghanaian people. But Ken is a reminder of Donald Trump in the U.S. So if those people would think they are politically correct to lead a party and eventually lead a country and do what is right for all manners of Ghanaians, are not living up to expectations, we could have what we had in the U.S., where people vote for Kennedy Ohene at Japan. And truth be told, leadership has not got any kind of formula. It's whom the people like. If it comes to Brian Champon, you remember in the days in government when he said NPP was never going to hand over power.
Indeed.
I'm sure by now he'll be revising his notes to understand that the people's power is more than any other thing on this earth. And when you are given an opportunity to lead, it's a privilege. The power he said he was not going to hand over today, was not going to hand over tomorrow. That's the same power he's now begging his party people to give it to him. So if you look at all the candidates, Edichum, for instance, a fine gentleman, and I think that Edichum could be a very fine running mate to any of the candidates. But as to what motivated him to be in the race, that is the beauty of democracy. Probably trying to mark his time for the future. Some of us are privy to the help Edichum has given NPP in opposition days. When he came to the education ministry, the kind of legacy he left there, especially the central educational program. And I think that NPP have very fine brains that can lead the party. The challenge is whose pocket is fat. And I think that is what we need to discourage in our body politics.
Certainly.
You remember Adanimo fell off because he felt the money was too much.
That's right.
And I don't know why both political parties are taking this tangent. So people like us who don't have money, if we have the world leader in terms of policies that can put this country somewhere, automatically we are wiped out. And I also want to come to a very important point my good brother Solomon raised.
Right.
If you look at the database of the parties, none of them have membership over 1 million. That is the honest truth. And I'm happy he brought that up. But what does it tell our body policy? It means that the floating voters, they are the people who crown the king. So when you promise and you don't deliver, just remember that you are a goner. Because these people, their fidelity are like some of us to the state. Even though we have political parties we want, our loyalty doesn't lie with them at the expense of the state. So that is what must guide both political parties.
Certainly.
I also want to pass the national executive. You realize that when the 5 aspirants all came to present their nomination forms,
yes,
you didn't see any of the national executives following any of the aspirants. That is a departure from what we have always known. This is what we want to see. Create a level playing field so that whichever candidate emerges as the winner, everybody will understand that indeed the people have spoken and they will all rally behind such a candidate.
Certainly.
But when you put conditions in place to favor a particular candidate, that is where the trouble comes. And the regional chairmen are very guilty of this charge. And I'll plead with the NPP regional chairman to stay away from any of the candidates, even though they have their voting rights. These 5 contestants are all NPP members. They should give everybody a level playing field and allow the delegates to choose whom they so want to lead the party. And finally, with my friend again.
Yes, rounding up for me, please.
I was so hard on His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I don't know, Solo, is Bawumia giving your candidate a headache or what?
Yeah.
Because we are not talking about the other
Emmanuel is asking whether Dr. Bawumia is giving your candidate a headache. It's only because that's who we started off with. But, of course, as the weeks progress, we'll be getting into some of the other candidates. He says the other candidates shouldn't bother.
Your candidates will want a very vibrant candidate from the other side.
It
will be end. So I think these are internal context. Let's stop hammering on one particular candidate and just allow the MPP to have their process and give us a candidate. And from there, we can have a very good discussion around them.
Ima, you see, ordinarily I would have gone with you. But the truth of the matter is that nothing different is going to happen. The 37% you are talking of in the last elections for Canada, Japan, was as a result of 1, Alan had withdrawn. 2, that is the true, the ghost, those that were not ghosts that went to vote, they represent the 37%. There is a huge amount of close to 58 to 60% who are ghosts. They will be determining who wins. So it's not a free and fair election that's going to take place. Hence, the reason I'm telling you that nothing is going to change. And you come back and give me my stone. This one is 31st January. Is that not the case?
Emmanuel, we'll be waiting for you to bring that stone in studio, but I do have to let you go, make room for our next conversation. Always grateful for your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Emmanuel Kuting is the Executive Director, African Center for Security and Counterterrorism. Let's just take a very quick listen. Let's find out if you're ready to get connected.
The year 2028, DQ will be MPP now. Today, I am
3FM 92.7.
I am
Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
To vote for Canada, Japan. Because in the bus, chop bus, truck from wherever you go, a market. Ghanaians are crying for Canada, Japan to leave this country.
Are you ready to get connected? Kennedy Japan says, wherever you go. I want to find out whether the gentlemen in studio have heard it. He said in the market, you go to the market. He says, go to the trotro station. I know you have your eyes and ears everywhere. Are you here before wanting to get connected?
I think that Mr. Kennedy Japan's business acumen and his success on the business front cannot be underestimated. His ability to speak his mind is also not in doubt. However, to be president of the Republic of Ghana, you ought to be measured in most of the cases. And you find that in most of the cases, he sounds, forgive my French, like a loose cannon. I would not want to have a president like that, who at the least provocation would, put out all manner of emotions and vituperations. I'm being very honest with you. I want a president who would represent me in the best way, in every way. Look, the problems of this country are that people are looking for jobs. If you make him president, you're most likely to find the jobs. But if we also force the other people to serve as well, you will find jobs. If we insist that President Mahama now should not be concentrating about creating new agencies and what have you and just find us jobs, I'm sure that he will, if we insist, he will find us the jobs. If we insist that he should not be wasting money like we did in Agenda 111, lying to the people that we commissioned some when in fact we did not commission any at all, we will find jobs. If what is happening at the Rich Hospital, for example, you remember that when we were about to have the inauguration ceremony, President Akufo-Addo was asked whether or not he was going to be present. Yeah. You remember? Do you remember what he said? He said, unfortunately, he has to fly out of the country for a medical checkup. This is Agenda 111 telling us that, unfortunately, he has to fly out of the country for medical checkup. That's a verdict that our system is rubbish. You get the point? Which means that he's telling you that he failed. But he's finding a nice way to say it. We didn't catch that. You get the point? Honestly, if you ask me, I don't want to be connected.
You don't want to get connected?
No. And I'm saying this also on the basis of the fact that I remember that, and recently Mr. Hobson Adoye came to apologize to me. Hobson Adoye, the guy on the 2TV at the time, is it Anan?
Yes.
Anan and Kennedy Japan. They sat on television, insulted me, made wild claims, said all manner of things about me that were not true. Hobson Adoye came to apologize to me recently. His wife also saw me at KOD's event and with emoji and said, look, he wants to apologize to me, etc. and all of that. So if somebody who can sit on national television to tell blatant lies, right? Yeah. I cannot trust his integrity. He came here for a one-on-one interview with Roland Walker.
Yeah.
Roland asked him whether or not he knew me. He said he doesn't know me. In fact, on the day when he insulted me on the 2TV, he said that he was going to provide me suits because I wear Chinese suits. It's been more than 7 years on. He cannot even fulfill that simple promise. How do you trust such an individual? He has no credibility. As for his businesses, he runs them. He employs people. But presidency goes beyond just running businesses. It goes to a certain leadership acumen beyond being a loose cannon, beyond being, attacking people and insulting people. I will not vote for somebody who can go to an open court and tell a judge that he is whatever. An open court. I cannot vote for such a person. You get the point. If you're a president and you cannot respect the judiciary, you cannot respect the media, you cannot respect anybody else, it has to be you or nobody else. I cannot be connected to such a Wi-Fi.
Certainly, Mauna, I wanted to find out from you just in 30 seconds. I give Solomon the final word. Whether you had also heard in the bus stations, in the markets, in the open squares about this Get Connected agenda, and then we wrap up with Solo.
Without a doubt, in all of the conversations, from all of the analysis, increasingly it looks like he is most preferred in terms of grassroots mobilization and all of that, and in all of the conversation. And I share in the arguments Johnny puts forward, but the question when he was speaking, I was asking myself is whether or not the ordinary voter sees through the lenses he sees a lot of these things through. The average Ghanaian voter, yes, we're growing, we're getting more sophisticated and the likes, but sometimes we don't look at things from the prisms in which Johnny is looking at them at. And that's where he tends to want to lay his bed and be able to garner the vote. If he is on that ballot come December 2028, a lot of what Johnny has said is very legitimate. These are legitimate questions which question the character of what our president is supposed to be. But will the Ghanaian consider these in that decision-making process?
Certainly.
And that's what he's banking his hope on, that popularity and the fact that he's been able to do it with his private businesses.
Thank you for that, Mauna. Solo, I wrap up with you on this one in just a minute or so. It's an evolving conversation. We don't know yet if there will be more Flagbearer hopefuls that will throw their hat in the ring. We followed this space keenly, but wrap up for us your thoughts on what has transpired over the last 24 hours.
So I see the NPP trying very hard to destroy themselves. I don't think there will be any outcome apart from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia winning the election and winning it convincingly. That will not mean that majority of the delegates loves him. It only means that they would have intensified their rigging, because there are a lot of ghost names in there who are going to vote against the other aspirants. Again, it is also exposing the party itself as to the extent of damage they caused to this country. If each is accusing the other of having sinned, stolen our money, I believe the Yokos and the OSPs would have even intervened. You understand? They are exposing themselves how deep they dipped into their pockets to dash monies, $1,500 here and there. We must begin to go after the sources of these monies.
Certainly.
You understand? These are eye-openers. GRE. People are paying 4.6 million. You have to go and check whether they have fulfilled their tax obligations. But we take everything for granted. I am not enthused. Whether or not the taxi drivers, the trotros, the market women are yearning for Kennedy Japan, at the end of the day, are they delegates? It will interest you to know that those that are following these people to file nominations here and there, you can barely have more than 1% being delegates. And the first general election is about delegates.
That's
it's
right.
about a small number of people who are going to choose for the people of this country to settle on. And we are only 9 months into a new administration. So why the rush? A lot of things are going to happen. Yesterday, I heard him say that already his ideas have been taken and that the NDC promised revocation of LI 2462. You brought the LI 2462. So if you see that one as your campaign promise, then why did you even bring it in the first place? These are issues that we are going to raise as our party in 2028, checkmating the two parties to see whether or not they have been truthful to the people of this country. So it's early days yet, but I don't think that any serious thing will happen to the party. Will still remain in opposition until they go back and do what is right, that is building from the grassroots and then getting the right candidate at the top.
Thank you so much, Olumawusu, for your time. It is some 33 minutes past the hour of 9. We go for a quick break. When we come back, we take you to Akweta, give you the latest on what's happening. It is still the best breakfast show in all of the land. It is still 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.